Hello everybody, it's the real PewDiePie bringing you another video. Today I am excited to do a little bit of a different video. I've done top 5s before, but now I'm excited to bring you ranking every Zelda 3D games from worst to best. Now, I'm going to be not going off a script here, so I hope I'm coherent enough. I add everything I want to add into why I'm ranking these games where I am. So please sit back and enjoy the video. I know I'm going to have some people a little bit heated on me. Alright, let's get to the first and the worst. By the way, all these games, I love them. I've played hours and hours. So if your favorite's on the worst, it's not necessarily a bad game, just not as good as the others. Alright. Now, for the first and the worst one we'll be talking about is Breath of the Wild. Now, hold on. Let me rest my case. I know a lot of y'all love this game, top tier game of all time, but there's some things that hold me back from this game. One, I cannot name one soundtrack or anything from music-wise that's memorable to me, and that's a big part of it. Bosses. I love bosses. If you are a regular viewer of my channel or see a lot of my videos, you will see that I like my bosses. And most of the bosses were just the same Phantom Ganon, just little variations with tiny bit of different elemental moves. The dungeons are whack. I had no fun doing them. They were all the same theme. Almost every big criteria in Zelda was not Zelda. I felt like this was mainly a different game. You're probably gonna guess which one's in the next spot. I don't like the weapon durability at all. So all the cool weapons that I have, I don't even want to use them. I just want to store them in Link's house so I can have that cool of weapon just to look at. Same thing with my amiibo weapons. Now I have to, once it breaks, I have to amiibo, keep on switching the time forward. It's not that great of an investment to go out and get these things. But other than that, I do love the action, I do love the gameplay. Like I said, just because it's on the worst of the list does not mean it's a bad game. But alright, on to the next. Now, judging on the placement of the last game, you can probably tell I'm going to be talking about Tears of the Kingdom as the next best game coming after Breath of the Wild. Reasons I like it more. There are way better tracks. I did enjoy the dungeon, the Sky Temple, whatever, when you go with the Rito people. You know, for your English dub listeners, I loved hearing Gon's voice the whole time. You know, Hunter x Hunter. I liked that whole building mechanic, and I liked being able to build your own house, because for me, I like collecting all those cool weapons and such, so I could have as many of those collection rooms as possible and put them in there. The bosses are all actually unique. Going back to the Sky Temple, that was probably my favorite one that I did. The bosses were fantastic. I really loved the Ganondorf fight. It was one of those Kratos moments when you thought you died with that moment on Thor, but he says, "Oh no, I say when we're done," and he revives us back up and we're shocked. When that health bar went past what it was supposed to, I feel like everyone's jaw dropped. They weren't ready for it. They felt like they really hit that Dark Souls second phase boss. But yet again, I did not enjoy the dungeons that much. The lava dungeon had a little cool part, but it was mainly the bosses. But yet again, it gets held back by the weapon durability. For me, one of the best things that came to it was a glitch, which was the Infinite Master Sword glitch, where the little epilogue, prologue, whatever it's called, where you got that Master Sword. There's a glitch where you can take it to your main file and have a sword that never breaks. I shouldn't have to do a glitch so I don't get annoyed with my weapons breaking, constantly having to re-up. I know in this game they made it so you can go to an Octo Rock or whatever and you can restore your weapon. I don't care to do all that. That's too much. but it was kind of a rinse and repeat cycle, so it didn't feel like the map was too new. But it does have better music. I love all the buildables you can do. For one final thing, I'll have to say that I was very sad and disappointed about. One thing I did love about Breath of the Wild was having that Wolf Link companion. They just made him a whole slab of meat, million pieces of meat. Rip my doggo Link. Alright, on to the next. Now, this is where I see a lot of people getting mad, thinking, how did you rate Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom below this game? Well, it's not my Zelda. You can't tell me this game doesn't have better OSTs, some of the most great, memorable bosses like Demise, one of the best lores, or story-wise, for all the Zelda games, because this was the very beginning, and hands down has the best water temple. No one can forget about that Buddha statue, boss, whatever you want to call him, the pirate fight on that. There's just a lot of great things to do with this game. I love the atmosphere of it. Also, I've always been a guy that loves self-character development, so if you can upgrade stuff, not skill trees, but this game lets you upgrade all your items within that one shop in your little hub area, home. I don't know why, I really love that feature. And most of the dungeons were a hit for me. I didn't enjoy the final lava dungeon and obviously the final thing where you get the Triforce, but it's still a banger game. Obviously, it's drawn back by its motion controls. Nintendo Switch made it better, but I'm still having to constantly recenter to get my sword to do what the fuck I want it to do. But alright, on to the next. Now for my fourth favorite Zelda of all time, Ocarina of Time. Now this one might also get a lot of people heated. This is one of the most perfect games of all time. Not the best Zelda in my opinion though. One of the main reasons is I'm usually a 100% completer. So hitting those 100 Skulltulas just to only get infinite rupees when you don't need infinite rupees at that point. Also, I should have added that back to Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild with the Koroks and only getting a gold poop. Terrible reward. I didn't feel satisfied at all when I did do it. But to the good notes of this game, almost every temple is a bop. Everyone dreads the water temple. I dread it for different reasons. Usually it's not too bad, but it's that one playthrough where you forget to check a certain door, or you didn't look up after you rose the water level, or check what was under that rock. And if you go too far forward, the backtracking is terrible. Having to pause in and out to go switch from your iron boots to non-boots to iron boots, and having to constantly play Zelda's Lullaby. That dungeon felt terrible, but I liked most of the temples in this game. Not one of my favorite dungeons of all time come from it. Some great OSTs as beautifully Song of Storms, Gerudo Desert, well, who can forget Lost Woods? A lot of our banger songs came from this Zelda, but I'm going to keep it short and simple because there's going to be a lot of repeating from now on for my top 3 Zeldas. Now for my number 3 spot, we got Majora's Mask. Now what can I say? Going back to me 100%ing all the Zelda games, this was one of the most fun games to do it. Now you gotta know, this game is known for its side quests. They have guaranteed the best side quest there is. I love the 3-day cycle. At first when I was a little kid it annoyed me, and then you learn that you can slow down time, you have a lot more time to do things, and it's much more manageable. But the 4 dungeons, I did love them. I hated the Water Temple boss. The Water Temple was great though. But yeah, it ended up annoying me just mechanics wise. The Snow Temple, That was a fun-ass boss, and I'm talking about the original version, not the 3DS version, because for whatever reason, they wanted to switch up the bosses and give them all a big eye. Makes no sense, but also one of the ultimate rewards you get for 100%ing is the Fierce Steedy Mask. It might be one of my favorite rewards out of any game that you can get. I don't know why. It seems like one of the most badass things you can get. And throughout the entire journey of getting all the masks, I guess you don't have to get all the heart pieces, but in this game, there's not that many heart pieces to get, but I enjoyed the full journey onto getting it. I can't think of one annoying part besides maybe the bow and arrow minigames. I don't know, it might just be a skill issue, but I had to try many, many times. Also, I hate you, Zelda Master, for gloating that it was easy. It was not. It was one of the few times where I actually raged at Zelda. And if we talk about atmosphere, this game has it. From the music speeding up from day 1 to day 3, interacting with all the civilians on Castletown and all around this world of Termina. And the mask mechanic will always be one of my favorite things. I love being able to use the different abilities of the Zora, Goron, and Deku, which kind of makes up for the lack of items. One thing I was kind of disappointed about was after you get the bow and arrow from the first dungeon, there's not many other items besides, the key items you get from each dungeon is just a different elemental bow. Some might not mind it. I wish there was more, but I also kind of understand because of all the masks in the game. Majora is one of my favorite villains of all time. He seems one of the most overpowered, even though probably canonically Ganon's a lot stronger than him, but we never really seen feats like Majora could do. But of course, they got banger OSTs. I love Clock Tower, I love Terminal Field, I love Deku Palace. There's a lot to do with this game. And also, I love the Great Fairy sword design for whatever reason. I do hate, though, it does lose some points because you had to use a C-stick option instead of being able to switch your sword. Well, yeah, let's go on to number 2. Now for my number 2 spot, we have The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. This used to be my top 1. I was a ride or die with this one. Anyone who hated on it, I would fight them tooth and nail for this one. Now, almost every dungeon is a bop. I really did not like the Earth Temple. Main reason was I didn't like using the whole mirror mechanic, and the command melody really annoyed me. I did not enjoy using the command melody to control the bird lady and Makar, especially Makar. At least with Medley or whatever her name is, at least you got to fly around and had some ability and mobility. But with Makar, you would just penguin waddle everywhere, and his special ability was just planting seeds. But I did enjoy the Wind Temple a lot more, and it had a way better boss. The OSTs in this game are goated. Dragon Roost, the mini boss theme, the Wind Temple boss. Also, I will say I love the photo collecting for each of the statues. And even though you don't get that great of a reward, I felt like it was great post-game content to keep you on for hours and hours. I really enjoy almost every single boss fight. The Earth Temple, yet again, it's probably one of the worst temples of 3D Zelda. That boss was more like a Mario Party minigame to me. But every other one, I had fun. I love the visuals of this game. I don't know why people had to hate on the anime style of this game. It was great. It was a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. I really felt it. But also what really grinds my gears is why when everything gets surrounded by water, what sense does it make for the Zoras to evolve in the Rito. I don't know. One thing that also really annoys me about this game that got fixed in the number 1 spot, I absolutely hated the invincibility frames that the enemies would have. I hated constantly waiting for them to get up, and then me getting bitch slapped, pimp slapped, and fucking Prince style over and over again because, you know, they just want to have invincibility frames and I can't attack them when they're on the ground. But I don't really have any other complaints about this game. Let's go on to number 1. With my number 1 pick, you were obviously able to guess because I named every other 3D Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Now, this is a lot more of a darker, mature game. I want to say it's darker than Majora's Mask, but, you know, with this cutscene that's playing, you could argue that there's a little bit of darker factors. This one, also, banger OSTs. I love, like, Hylia, Kakariko Village, the Hidden Desert song, I'm not sure what it is. I'll probably have it playing during this one. And I also love it when you have a boss in a critical position and then you hear that da, 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 da. You know what I'm talking about if you played this game. I like a lot of the mini games here. I like the side quests besides the rupee given ones, God forbid. But also one of the things I love about this game is it truly feels like a Ocarina of Time sequel because you can go back and see a lot of references to the game. Even though it was a short and simple temple, but it might be nostalgic factors what might make it cooler, but the Temple of Time, getting to see that again was an absolute bop. Actually getting to learn more about Ganondorf, of what would have happened if Zelda was trusted about her dreams about Ganondorf, and he got clutched up, but he came right back. Also, Minda is the best side character that follows you along for your journey, no doubt, compared to Navi, Fi, any of them. I don't see anyone arguing if someone's better than Minda. Now, I get the hate for using the Wolf Link. I really enjoyed using Wolf Link. My main complaint is that his moveset isn't that versatile, and I wish he actually had his own boss. He kind of had a mini one for the last Sacred Tears, which I don't understand why anyone complains about those, because they're really easy and simple to get. It doesn't take much time at all. I love the combat system and all the references to the old games, and with all the Wolf Link songs of getting taught the songs from the Hero of Time and actually being trained by the Hero of Time. The fighting mechanics were really cool. I enjoyed seeing moves from each of the Zelda games. Has my favorite dungeons. The water dungeon wasn't terrible. It was probably my least favorite, to be honest. But I loved the Ice Temple. The Ice Temple is probably my favorite of all time. I love the vibe of the Twilight Realm. And the Sky Sanctuary, beautiful. Every single boss, beautiful. Temple of Time was a little silly, but it was a reference to that one, but I got a good laugh out of it. This game spikes so much more enjoyability if you played through Ocarina of Time. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. These are my 3D Zeldas ranked from worst to best. Remember, I love all of them. If you think of another ranking for these Zelda games that you might want me to do, let me know. I would be happy to rank these videos, and depending on how this one does, maybe I will actually script it and have more well thought out sayings. But alright, leave a like and subscribe. Real PewDiePie out.